city is falling.
Each time we strike down an enemy, we absorb their strength.
But I can't let that happen. At least, not yet.
Bonjour tout le monde. Bonjour. Bonjour. Welcome. So today we just have seen Dying Light 2 and I'm really pleased to be with Tymon today, who is the lead designer.
Yes, lead game designer for Dying Light 2.
So can you explain us what's your role in the game as a lead designer?
As a lead designer, I lead a team of designers that are working on the game. We have a few designers constantly working on each of the aspects of the game. Every element, every balance question, every design for enemies, for any mini game, for any player progression stuff, for any skill, for everything. First you have to come up with that idea, of course, and you have to logically place this idea in the context of the whole game, the puzzle that the game is. And then each of those things, they also have a lot of things you can balance. How, for the simplest thing is you swing a weapon, how much damage this weapon gives, and so then first you come up with this idea, and then you have to support this idea to the release of the game, and then you have to constantly work on each of those elements, on each of those features to make sure that they are connecting with everything else that's in the game. So I lead a team of designers that are doing this, and of course I do some design myself, and by leading the team of designers, I read their designs, I work with them on their designs, I discuss those things, I challenge them, so maybe they're not making the right decisions, but usually they make better decisions than me. So and I also work with the game director, who sets the tone and direction for the whole game. So a lot of work. For someone this might be very exciting, for someone this might be a boring office job because you basically sit at your computer all the time, but the thing is I get to play the game all the time, and I think that's the best part of, actually no, the best part is that when you do something in the game, if you change something and then you run the game again and you see those changes appearing in the game, so you feel like this god that changes everything in this world. So that's a really exciting job, I think one of the best jobs in the world.
During the presentation, you were talking about narrative sandbox.
Yes.
Can you explain for people who doesn't know this concept?
Yes, so the narrative sandbox is an idea for the structure of our story and our world in Dying Light 2. So as you play the game, you face many difficult dilemmas and you make some choices. You make those choices through gameplay, you make those choices through dialogues, through story, through other means. But the important thing is that there are two very important things. The first one is that when you make those choices, they have consequences. And those consequences work on different levels. On a narrative level, so the story flows in a different direction. In a gameplay level, so always each of those important choices, it introduces some gameplay element to the game, or maybe changes some gameplay element to the game. So for example, we are giving here at Gamescom is that if you have one of the factions take over an abandoned pool and they start the production of plants from which they can produce drugs, then those drugs appear in your game. So you made a choice, and now a new element have appeared in your game, and it changes the sandbox gameplay. So those drugs allow you to get better, so you get more stamina, you deal more damage, stuff like that. But also you encounter enemies that do the same. So now the difficulty is upgraded as well. So the first level of changes is narrative, the second is gameplay, and the third one is systemic systems. So we want players to understand what are the rules of this world, and then if they understand those rules, those systems, let's say, of the world, they can play with that. So for example, there's a faction named Scavengers, and they basically believe that they will be able to rebuild this world. So if you help Scavengers take over a part of the city where there are some structures that are destroyed, for example a breach or some outpost, after some time they will fix that place. So you understand, there's this rule, Scavengers want to build the world, and now there's an object, a location you want to be rebuilt. So you think, okay, so if I help scavengers get that place, they will build. And they are building this and something happens, another consequence. So for example, if they fix the bridge, you get access to a new part of the city. But then the bridge maybe was destroyed by purpose because maybe someone was trying to hide something in the other part of the city so it doesn't spread everywhere. So it's really a complex matrix of choices and consequences, and you really have to think hard why you make those decisions because all of them can have very, very interesting, very far-fetching consequences.
So when you make some choices, is it possible not to go in some parts in the town?
Yes. So that's of course that's something maybe wasn't that wise from the production point of view because because you make a lot of stuff that some people may not even see at all. But on the other hand, we believe that this is something that will make Dying Light a game that people will play for a long time because Dying Light 2, first of all, you play the game, you finish the game, and you experience some elements of the story, and you reach some kind of an outcome. But then you want to see, okay, but maybe I could have done some things differently. So you play the game by yourself. But also there's another thing. Dying Light 2 also supports 4-player co-op. And now,
that was my next question.
Exactly. And now each player has its own version of this world because the choices that you make are your own. So if players join you, they understand they are in your world and they get to experience the choices you make. But then the next evening, the next week or whatever, one of your friends tells you, you know what? Join my game, and you join their game, and it's a completely different game because they made different choices. The city is different, so it's basically like you get a lot of versions of the same game, and you can experience all of them while you play online.
But do they join the game as foes or friends?
As what?
Enemies or friends?
No, as friends.
Okay.
That's co-op, right?
Co-op okay.
Yeah. So they join us as your friends. They follow you. They help you with solving those problems that you face. They don't make decisions, though. When they upgrade their character, whatever they earn in terms of player progression, they get to keep it. So I play a new world. I'm surprised by the choices you made. I see what other versions of this world are. But then my character upgrades, I get a cool weapon, I get new skills, so I go back to my game, to my world, which I know and I love, but I'm a better character now.
Okay, and why did you choose to abandon your first game? Like it's 15 years after the first game, different stories, different characters, dark modern age.
I think we wanted to add more maturity and more complexity to the narrative, and we were looking also for something that would make our game unique in terms of visuals. So all of those things kind of happened at the same time. We decided that we want to create a world that's stylized in a manner of modern dark age. So basically the civilization is gone through medieval times, the technology is gone back to medieval times, but everything's happened in the modern scenery because we are still in this world that we know from outside the window, but it's destroyed, it's basically like has gone back. So that's a modern dark ages, and that's one of the things that happened. So to be able to achieve that, then we decided, okay, but this cannot happen like a year after the apocalypse. It needs to be at least 15 to 20, maybe some more years. So we spent some time in tweaking the timeline actually, but we have everything planned out, or like what happened after the first game, all of the events invented, let's say. So we will be putting elements of that lore in the game world, so you will be able to discover that.
Okay, last question. Do you have, as a Polish studio game, do you have connection with CD Projekt?
Basically, those are our friends. Like the thing is that at games conventions, game developer conventions, you basically in Poland you get to see those same people over and over and over again. So on a personal level, those are our friends. Thankfully, we're not competing with the products that are the same. So if they would make a zombie game or a game like with parkour, and we would make a zombie game or a game with parkour, then that would be more difficult. But thankfully, we are making completely different games. So there's no direct competition. We love what CD Projekt is doing. We hope, of course, we know they're loving what we are doing. So it's basically we're all in the same trenches in the Polish game dev industry.
Okay, great. Thanks for everything.
Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye bye.